Most gardeners burying banana peels are actually making their garden worse, and they don't even know it. Banana peels take months to break down, they attract pests, and by the time they do break down and release the nutrients, your plants have already moved on. There are 3 things that I use that outperform banana peel on every nutrient, and today I'm going to show you exactly what they are. Real quick, before I break down why banana peels will always fall short, here's the answer. Worm castings, coffee ground, compost tea. Those 3 things cover all the nutrients that banana peels claim to, and they're faster, less mess, synthetic free, and pest free. I'm going to show you why each one works and exactly how to use them in your garden. But first, let me show you the problems with banana peels, because if you don't understand the problem, you're going to keep reaching for the same fix. Everyone tells you to throw them in your garden next to your tomatoes, your peppers, your roses, and it's going to deliver potassium to them. And I'm not here to disagree with that because it is true. But here's what nobody's going to talk about. That banana peel, it takes 2 to 6 months for it to decompose. Your tomatoes are flowering right now. They don't need potassium in October. They need it right now. And during that time frame, while that banana peel is sitting there breaking down, it's going to draw pests, as in flies, gnats, even rodents if you have them in your area. The second problem is it can add funguses and bacteria into your soil. And number 3, and this is the big one, the nutrients are locked inside that peel and your plants can't use them until that peel is completely decomposed. So you're not actually feeding your plants, you're just burying food in the garden and hoping it works out. I made this mistake myself. I threw banana peels, eggshells, all sorts of stuff in every hole, and my plants just sat there and sulked because I wasn't actually providing them with the nutrients that they needed. Now let me show you 3 things I used instead that actually work. Number 1 is, of course, going to be worm castings. It is the best replacement for banana peels. Worm castings are nature's perfect fertilizer. Well, on one end, worms eat organic material. On the other end, they produce a lovely fertilizer for your garden that's got nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, calcium, trace minerals, everything your garden could possibly need. Worms produce it. And the best part is, as soon as it comes out that worm, it is bioavailable for your plants. So there's no decomposition, no pest, no weight. Just put it around the plant, water it in good, bada bing, bada boom, you're ready to rock. Here's the comparison. Banana peels give you potassium. Eventually, worm castings give you a whole list of nutrients that are bioavailable right then and there. Plus, worm castings produce beneficial microbes while the banana peel is just sitting there. Now, you're not going to need a giant worm bin for this. You can go buy a bag from the store, 10, 12 bucks, not a problem. You can go full Carter's Gardens. We've got one under the sink, we've got one in the garage, and I'm working on building a bigger one outside because I'm constantly using this for all sorts of things. And here's the 2 ways that I use this. So when I go to transplant, I use the Hole Puncher 9000, put a little bit of worm castings in the bottom, put a little around the edge, just backfill the whole thing. Boom, the nutrients are there, bioavailable and ready right then and there. Number 2, I like to come in after we've let some of the grass and stuff start to come up, throw some worm castings over top of that, throw some mulch down, boom, slow release formula later on. No waiting, no synthetics, no problems to fix later. If you've been watching the channel for any amount of time or you're new here, I don't use any synthetic fertilizers or chemicals, fertilizers or pesticides in the garden. I try to use as much organics as possible so I can build the soil so that it'll take care of the plants for me. And if that resonates with you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot more than. Number 2 is going to be coffee grounds. Now I know what you're thinking. Jake, I've heard the fact that coffee grounds are actually bad for the garden, and in all honesty, fresh coffee grounds are. But used coffee grounds, that's a whole different beast. So when you brew your coffee grounds, it actually removes most of the acidity out of the coffee, which is the big problem, and leaves you perfectly ready, slow release nitrogen into the soil without burning any of your plants. Now what's great about coffee grounds is most of us are going to drink coffee, especially if we're out here doing this. If you don't, good. I need that little juice boost in the morning. If you don't use enough coffee to have grounds to use in the garden, you can go to a lot of coffee shops and they will give you bags of used coffee grounds just to get rid of them. They don't have to. Coffee grounds are especially useful for leafy greens and apparently some grass here and there. It's high in nitrogen, So you just take it, sprinkle it around the edges of your plants, till it into the first few inches, and call it good. Whereas bananas are filled with potassium, and if you're throwing banana peels around your leafy greens expecting it to give you a nitrogen boost, it's just not going to happen. You're grabbing the wrong tool. Now, when it comes down to using the coffee grounds, I do put them around the edges and sometimes mix them in the top layer of the soil, but a lot of the time I'll just throw it around the plants, call it good, especially if I can catch it before it rains. Number 3 is compost tea, and this is where it's going to get fun. Compost tea is essentially a liquid fertilizer that you make yourself with worm casting, finished compost. I've even seen people go so far as to make a thing called weed tea, and the real trick to it is you throw it all in a bucket, you let it fill it up with water, let it steep for 48 hours, use an air pump to blow air bubbles through it, and by the end of the 24 to 48 hour period, you have brewed compost tea. My wording's better. This is going to be a concentrated fertilizer that is loaded with nutrients and microbes, which are perfect for your garden when you're trying to build soil. And here's why this is going to replace banana peels for you. Banana peels, like I said earlier, take 2 to 6 months to break down, and it's going to give you a bunch of potassium. With compost tea, by the time that's done and you've mixed it with water before applying it to your plants, it is going to be a direct shot of plant-ready nutrient. From the time it hits the ground to the time it reaches the bottom of the roots, that plant is uptaking that nutrient, so it's ready right then and there. And here's the thing that really matters when it comes to the synthetic-free gardening is when you dump that compost tea, you're adding microbes, fungus, and instead of just feeding the plants, you're actually feeding the soil, and that's where we're going to see the most growth come from. And here's the simple way to make it. Compost, bucket, water, air pump, brew it, dump it, walk away. Let's recap. Banana peels, they got potassium, but it's going to take months, and they can draw pests during the decomposing process. Worm castings, nutrient dense across the board, bioavailable when it hits the ground, ready to go. Coffee grounds, high in nitrogen. Once you put it around the plants, give it about a week, and it's ready to go. Super nitrogen booster. And compost tea, the Superman of all forms of fertilizers. As soon as it hits the ground, it's got fungus, microbes, and nutrients dense, so you're building soil instead of just feeding plants. If you take one thing from this video, let it be the fact that we are feeding our soil so it can feed the plants for you, and not a single one of these things takes any form of synthetic chemicals. If this video helped you out, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps us reach more gardeners who are trying to grow synthetic free without any chemicals. Let me know down in the comments below which one of these 3 you're going to try. Coffee grounds, worm castings, compost tea. I read every single one. And if you drop your gardening zone down below, or your first frost date, even your last frost date, I can help you tweak this to when you should be applying this to your own garden. This is Carter's Gardens, where we're growing clean, synthetic free, good food from good soil, and we'll see you in the next one.